The classic Boss Runback, distant cousin perhaps to the unskippable pre-boss cutscene, is one of the most divisive mechanics to have been embraced by developers inspired by FromSoftware's Souls games. A certain set of masochists out there probably still evangelise the runback. If there's one thing veterans to From's back catalogue have learned after battling through them multiple times, it's that calmness isn't just a virtue, it's a necessity. Anger breeds impatience, impatience breeds carelessness, and suddenly you've got 24 gigantic spears sticking out of the top of your head at concerning angles. The old argument was that runbacks were a vital opportunity for recentering, a chance to breathe out the rage as you traversed a familiar path, ready to face your formidable opponent again with perfect mental equilibrium. By Dark Souls 3 though, the series' boss runbacks were growing notably less severe, and by the time Elden Ring arrived, let's ignore Raya Lucaria, it seemed that From was about to consign them to the dustbin of video game history once and for all, tossed aside as a pointless bit of legacy faff, and many of the series' fans didn't miss them at all. But as other developers began looking to capitalise on From Games' popularity, runbacks, alongside other familiar Soulsian mechanics like world resetting rest points and currency drops on death, started proliferating elsewhere. Over the years, we've seen the subgenre embraced by the likes of Nioh, Sultan Sanctuary, Lords of the Fallen, Mortal Shell, Blasphemous, Steel Rising, Nine Souls, and Lies of P. The full list is long, and while some studios opted to ape the formula as closely as possible for maximum authenticity, others, particularly in recent years, either jettisoned runbacks entirely or shortened them so much that they felt little more than an obligatory nod. For a time, it seemed runbacks might finally be falling out of fashion, but then came Hollow Knight Silksong. With its punishing difficulty and often lengthy runbacks, Silksong has helped resurrect the conversation once more. Do boss runbacks really serve a purpose, or are they just an archaic, infuriating bit of time-wasting design that's well past its prime? On Silksong specifically, gamers are torn. On the one hand, Team Cherry has done great things in making the runbacks dynamic. You can't just autopilot your way back to the boss in most cases, because the path is laid out with threats that do not react the same way every single time. Enemies may backdash, hurl projectiles that intercept your jumps, or burrow up or down through the terrain. It means you have to think, react, and be aware every single time you die. You can't just sleepwalk your way back to an encounter like you do in some FromSoft games, because even the runback is a test. It wakes you up and it makes you think about your path. So from a design perspective, Silksong gets a tentative thumbs up. Still, from a player perspective, many people out there, especially people who never played Hollow Knight but who got swept up in the hype of Silksong without realising what they were really getting into, well, they remain unconvinced. To them, the runbacks feel messy, needlessly long, and interruptive to the overall flow of the experience. While veterans of the Souls-like genre may think it's a good way to tutorialise players and have them very quickly learn the nuances of the game, Silksong's runbacks definitely err on the side of sadistic. There are enough mean-spirited aspects in just the boss encounters and dedicated puzzle areas alone without having it seep into the connective tissue too, and this aggravation is driving a good portion of the audience away. Anyone who's played a Souls game to completion will appreciate how repetition becomes muscle memory and thus mastery. Demon's Souls, for example, is almost entirely runbacks, as full levels must be completed before a boss battle. But even FromSoftware has slowly phased these out. Elden Ring is not only generous with sites of grace, but the addition of Stakes of Marika outside of boss doors means that players can just respawn at the foggy gates of a boss encounter if they so wish. By comparison, Silksong's runbacks feel out of date, especially with its often infuriating enemy placement. Most people don't mind dying repeatedly to a boss, it's a common thing that happens in most games, but dying repeatedly against a tiny floating critter which you should be able to get past with ease but you can't because you're trying to rush through a runback to reclaim your rosaries? Oh, that's infuriating. Newcomers to Souls-likes then are undoubtedly having an even worse time with Silksong. There's a fine line between fun and frustration here, especially when runbacks aren't even confined to boss fights themselves. One minute you can be in the flow of exploration, lost in the dangerous beauty of the world, and the next you're plummeting into an abyss thanks to an evilly placed platform. Want to get back up to where you were again? Well, thanks to the looping level design, more times than not, this will also involve a lengthy runback through treacherous terrain. And this can understandably get boring and then frustrating, and that's just not fun. But runbacks aren't just confined to brutally hard Souls-likes. Even in a more sanitized experience, like World of Warcraft, you have to run back to your corpse if your team dies in a dungeon and try to resurrect everyone, which can be incredibly dangerous depending on where you die. In older MMOs, where dungeons weren't instanced and all the enemies respawned, it meant someone, usually a healer, would have the perilous task of trying to get back there if you died. Or alternatively, your entire group would have to redo all your progress in the dungeon and re-clear the path if you wanted to try the boss again. It's essentially the same thing, and it serves as a reminder that runbacks have a legacy far beyond Souls-likes, and considering the ongoing popularity of roguelikes, in which the concept of the runback is arguably stretched to its extreme, it's perhaps a sign that they'll continue to endure. But what, dear viewer, do you think? Is the Boss Runback an outdated bit of game design that should be consigned to the past, or is there still value in those lengthy returns? Have runbacks made you rage quit Silksong, or are you relishing those repetitive moments which give you the chance to memorize and perfect each small section of the game? Let us know in the comments below what you think about runbacks and whether or not they make you want to throw your console out of the window, and don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe to Eurogamer for almost daily videos about video games. Goodbye. Now is a great time to score some incredible games through humble choice. Live now through to October 7th, you can grab WWE 2K25, Destiny 2 Legacy Collection, The Plucky Squire, Return to Monkey Island, and more. Whether you're building up your backlog or discovering something new, this is the perfect time to pick up these fan favourites. Plus, every purchase supports a good cause, with this month's featured charity being Team Rubicon. Get a curated mix of PC games every month, all for just £11.49 a month.